all new. AM 1150 WTMP.com.
Alrighty, alrighty, alrighty. Tampa Bay, we're back. It's that time again. The herd is here. Porch Talk Radio. We're glad to be with you again on this Saturday afternoon. It's been a wonderful day already. We went to an event over in Nellis, over in St. Pete. The Black Republican Club over there had a Frederick Douglass event, and very educational, very interesting, informative. Few words that I can say about it. So, as usual, we got a great show for you again today. Some issues, some things, and I know you guys have heard that Rush Limbaugh died this week. So you heard from the other hosts, and we couldn't be further apart in our views and opinion of Rush Limbaugh. I'm kind of like the governor. I know people say and think pretty much what they're coached and told and taught, and every now and then, that all points in one direction, because I spent half the morning listening to someone talk about Frederick Douglass and some of the great things that he did and what he was involved in, and how he didn't even know who his parents were. Didn't know who his mothers were, and he was a young slave boy who got taken in, and was pretty much a playmate for a white kid on the plantation, and his mother, the white kid's mother, decided to teach him, her son, how to read. And since Frederick Douglass was there and he was playing with him, she actually didn't know that you were not supposed to teach blacks, children, adults, kids, any of them, how to read. I mean, that's one of the reasons how they kept you in slavery. You was ignorant. You was uneducated. So anyway, welcome to Porch Talk Radio. We're almost at the end of Black History Month, so we're going to talk a little bit about Black history, and we're going to talk about the New Deal and the Old Deal. Some of this stuff, and one thing I could say every week comfortably, when I come in here, that this show is different than all the other shows that come on TMP all week long. Every other hour on TMP is different than this hour. I ain't saying better, I ain't saying worse. I'm saying it's different.
Excuse me, Andy, we are the top rated show again, so I don't know.
Well, different. That's what I'm talking about. So let's get the show started. Let me go ahead and do this. If you want to call in during the show, Porch Talk Radio, you want to call in during the show, the call-in number here is 813-251-9867. 813-251-9867. We don't have a jingle. They give the number out, so I'm saying it slow.
I'm not singing it, Eddie.
I'm saying it slow. Even though each show comes on at some point in time during the show, they give out the call-in number, and most of the regulars, they have it. They know it. They got it in their phone. They got it on speed dial or whatever the apparatus is. Okay, for those who want to call me, Eddie Adam Jr., my cell phone number is 813-12. You can text me. I also get text. Just don't text during the show. Well, I do have people. One of my homeboys text during the show several weeks ago, and I got it, but of course I couldn't respond to it while I'm on the radio. But if he's listening, thank you, homeboy, for texting. And I'm from Lake Wales, and it's a bunch of folks from Lake Wales over here in Tampa Bay particularly. Half of the people I went to school with that's still alive are over here. So most of them left Lake Wales or are not in Lake Wales, and it's the nature of coming from a small town. Tampa's the big town. Tampa's the big city, from Lake Wales.
From Lake Wales, that's a good qualifier.
So Tampa's the big city for a lot of places. You ain't gotta be from Lake Wales. Anywhere in Central Florida other than Tampa, Tampa's still the big dog. Hell, if you're from Orlando, Tampa's still the big dog. Just to make that point. So
that's true. You got that.
So anyway, couple things, and I will talk about Rush Limbaugh at some point in time during the course of this show. And there's a couple other things, Black History Month. It was just so much trying to get together to put together the show for the day, because a lot of things happen on this day, historically. So on this day, but something I got to say right now. Mm-hmm. I say stuff.
You started up, Eddie.
At the beginning of the show, that I have to say, because it's important, and I gotta say it while I'm thinking about it. So at the end of the show, as soon as the show's over with, I don't walk out of here and say, I forgot to talk about XYZ. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what I forgot to talk about last week, I didn't mention it at all. Gonna talk about it this week, for sure. The price of oil. The price of oil, the price of gas. Mm-hmm. And I mention this, and pretty much what I'm gonna keep doing, as long as it keep going up, I'm gonna keep reminding you. I saw regular unleaded gas this week, $2.64. Now, just not that long ago, as I keep reminding you, it was $1.80.
Eddie, you're not supposed to pay attention to that.
No, I'm gonna keep paying attention.
You're supposed to be happy.
Because I'm gonna keep reminding you, because what happening is, there's a couple of things happening, all happening together, and you've been told, this new Green Deal,
all free,
is gonna save the climate. That we got this big climate change.
No evidence, no science to back that.
We gotta save the earth and save the world and save this and save that. Now, I posted on my Facebook page one day. I posted a car with a gasoline car with a diesel generator being pulled by the car to charge up a car that's electric that was on the side of the road.
And that's going to save our planet.
And I posted it. And so all these smart aleck, I got friends and foes, but every time I post something, they got to post something to the contrary. And I said, this is an electric car. Well, electric cars run out of electricity, and they do it at inconvenient times, just like in the olden days when you used to run out of gas. But pretty much, unless you're in the middle of West Hill somewhere, if you run out of gas, you can find a gas station. Electric cars, until the infrastructure gets there, you're going to have a problem. But anyway, smart Alex, who are my Facebook friends, some of them not for long,
after that,
posted oh, because they talking about having 100 million electric cars.
And no power grid to fund it.
And I
Make it work.
said to myself, and I posted on Facebook, how and where do the electricity come from?
Eddie, how's that working out in Texas right now?
And of course, all these smart Alex replied to me, oh, wind. Oh, they're going to have all these different solar panels. Oh, they got this and they got this. All these technologies are going to come about.
That are not working in Texas.
Are going to come about. Now, I'm going to tell you what happened. The best laid plans
Mm-hmm.
of mice and men
Mm-mm.
always come to abrupt tests when God shows his power. See, because they're saying we're going to have 100 million electric cars and we're going to get rid of fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And what people don't understand, they think it's just oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
When you get rid of fossil fuel, stop producing, stop drilling, stop doing all the stuff, you don't just stop gas,
Mhm.
you don't just stop oil, don't just stop grease, you don't just stop plastic, you don't just stop all
Rubber,
this,
yeah.
all this other stuff that comes from that process. But when you have a blizzard, we don't have blizzards every day. They're not that often. Tell that to somebody who gas, electric, power is off for a whole week,
What if they got babies? Ooh.
and the temperature never gets above 12 degrees. Even goes down to minus 12 degrees. And see, I watched the last Alaskan Frontier and some of these
Mhm,
other
yeah.
shows where it's always cold and there's always winter.
It's very cold out there.
And those guys have heaters and they have wood. And
Generators.
They have all that other stuff going on. But in a urban setting,
Mm-hmm.
not many people. Now I got a fireplace in my house, but not many people have the infrastructure to survive 12 degrees.
No, not at all. Eddie, I grew up, I lived out in an electric unit out in Oklahoma City, and we had a week of 0 degrees out there, and some fool ran into the transformer at the end of this condominium complex I lived in, and we spent a cold butt night with 2 children, all snuggling in. The kids thought it was fun. We adults weren't so amused. But when there's no backup plan, no generators, that's what's killing Texas. Literally right now, people with all these fancy electric cars, they have nowhere to plug it in. And if they let them stay dead for X amount of time, they're going to have other problems.
They got new batteries.
There's people that are having to live in their cars right now because there is nowhere to there's nothing. The whole town, some of these little towns are wiped out, Eddie. And it's like, well, did anybody think that maybe having a plan B behind frozen turbines, wind turbines, and then also panels, solar panels, full of ice and snow, did anybody think of a plan B?
Well, five inches of snow on top of a solar panel pretty much makes what's under the 5 inches of snow, even though the snow is white. Now, not much light from the sun
Yeah, not enough.
is going to make it to the panel. And if some of it do make it to the panel, it's still not going to generate a whole lot of electricity. So to all my smart alecky Facebook friends who gave me those brilliant solutions
Yeah.
on a bright and sunny day, how the turbine and the solar panels and all this stuff were going to work and power the nation. And we can literally turn our national power dependency over to wind energy and solar energies and all these renewables that's going to take the place of fossil fuels. It don't take much time to see that that's a fool's future.
Eddie, those lithium batteries and those electric cars, they make such a huge disaster. That strip mining looks wonderful compared to what they have to dig up to get that lithium for those batteries. And those batteries, it's $7,000, $10,000 depending on the car. That's just a battery.
Yeah, but they do that other countries. See, we don't make lithium here, so that's not our problem.
Oh, well, as long as we're ripping up other countries, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Liberals aren't concerned about that.
Right. See, that's the whole climate, that whole climate thing, and
Uh-oh.
the
I think we're on uneasy ground here, Eddie.
and the new Green Deal, where in 10 years they want to eliminate all fossil fuel. And I'm gonna tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it may come, but it's not here yet.
Mm-hmm.
To fly a 747 without fossil fuel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you.
And Tesla's experimenting on that now.
You know, they ain't figuring out that jet fuel substitute.
That longevity, Eddie, because
Yeah.
once you can launch a plane with electric plane, you can launch it, but the problem is it has to stay in the air long enough to get to land eventually,
Well,
or else it'll come down. That's no problem.
Well, they got to have more power. So I mean, you can make the drones. You can do the same thing you do
Oh,
with
yeah.
the drones, but the capacity of them is the issue. All right, we got a caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
Eddie Adams.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Joe Robinson calling from West Tampa.
How you doing, Mr. Robinson?
Chemical engineer, licensed professional engineer. Worked on this a little bit on his degree in solar energy. My background is thermodynamics, heat transfer, and fluids.
Yes,
That
sir.
means he knows.
This is a perfect. First of all, it's an act of God.
Act of
And
God.
God don't make no God don't make no mistake.
He just put a little
Let's
finger
just say
down.
that.
He just put a little
That's
finger
it.
down. That's a little one.
Okay, that was an act of God to have that type of storm. Now,
Yeah.
that was a reason. One was to show you can't politic the energy
Damn right.
policy.
Ooh.
It has to be based on science.
Yes.
Everybody wants to have
Wow.
science. It's got to be based on thermodynamics, heat transfer fluids, and one thing they did not have considered was reliability.
Yes.
Mhm.
So they out there trying to run a grid system and it ain't connected to the, actually the grid's supposed to be connected to all the surrounding states, so when you down, I can send you power where I'm running up and running.
Right.
You can send electricity if your grid hooked up right and designed right, got the reliability factors, okay? So that is just that is a perfect example of when you let politics, you let the environmentalists, and you let all these people talking about energy, and ain't none of them got no degree like I got. And I'm telling you, you got to have a backup. You're not going to be able to get rid of 100% fossil fuels until 2090. Okay?
Yeah.
And we got fossil fuels there. And even the fossil fuels they had, even the natural gas they had, froze up.
Right.
The pipe wasn't even insulated at the power plant. So that is just poor engineering. It's an act of God to show you that, look at here, we can't go to 100% renewable energy right now. I don't care what the climate is. It's not going to happen. It makes no sense. And people died out there. And then the residuals, your water stopped running. Why? You ain't got no pumps to pump water. Now your pipes busting.
Yep.
And it frees up. Now you got floods.
All over
Total
town.
poor engineering.
Right.
And it's on a wholesale phenomena because people use bad science. And that's all I'm going to say. And no reliability calculations in engineering. And if you ain't an engineer, leave that stuff alone. I mean, it might sound good to go renewable. It might sound to go green. Let's back up off of that, and let's just work with what we got. Let's reduce the coal down and go more to natural gas. And then eventually, when we get reliability, let me about these batteries. We're going to get all that lithium and stuff from China.
Joe.
Okay? And what you're going to do with a $7,000 battery? Where you
Joe,
gonna get rid of
Joe,
the weight?
Joe,
Heavy metals.
and least of all, they forgot that the turbines need wind to blow. So when them suckers start freezing up, they start eating up and wearing out and breaking down the bearings and the gears and stuff inside. So not only are they gonna be broke, they have to be repaired.
Exactly, and the military found that out when we started putting airplanes up in the Arctic and stuff. We had to use special kind of petroleum fluids that could go down below zero so they wouldn't freeze up. So like I say, man, That's just bad science, bad reliability, and everybody sitting around saying, look, we got wind and we got solar and we got all that. It is not applicable in every situation, okay? That's a bad application, and it caught them, and God brought it to light while we're having this discussion on green energy. That's all. That's an act of God to show you it ain't all what you think it is. There's a lot more engineering or a lot more science got to be done. So, like they've been telling us, follow the science. And that's all I got to say. Keep it up, Eddie.
Thank you, my brother.
God bless.
Appreciate you.
Got some wisdom on the
Every
line,
time
man.
you call. All right, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello?
Yeah, it was caused by natural gas freezing up in the lines. It had nothing to do with the wind turbines. The person who runs the electricity out there was on the radio, and he was saying it was the natural gas lines that were frozen up, that 80% of the wind turbines are in fact operational. So at least if you're going to lie,
Okay, wait. Okay, first of all, let me explain. It's several different things that's going on. It's not just the gas in the line. It's not just the water in the pipes. It's not just the 5 or 6 inches of snow on the solar panel. It's not just the wind turbines not
Freezing
turning,
up ones, yeah.
not turning. It's a combination of it. So again, it's not just one particular thing that went wrong. All of it went wrong, and it didn't take much for it all to go wrong.
Mhm.
See, so a week of this, it's going to be quite hard to tell somebody that's dead to say we made a simple mistake.
Yeah, but you're focused all on the renewable energy side of it, like it's all that fault.
What we're saying is Texas is the one state in the United States that had enough fossil fuel to not have to worry about this. The issue is that they're going through this because of politics, not science.
Big time.
See, it's not,
That's it.
it's a lot of other places where it's cold. And it ain't the coldest in Texas of the entire United States. They got other places that's a lot colder. It's just that they wasn't prepared for this. Somebody made a political decision and forced it on the people, and now the people got to live with it and live with this political disaster, and the reason we're saying God stepped in, because it ain't their usual cold. They don't usually get this, but he just did it to let them know what could happen. There could be bigger cold fronts, and history tells us anything can happen.
That's right. Appreciate you listening, though, buddy.
I think it's just people's stupidity, because I don't think there is such a thing as God. There's just stupid people.
And that's your choice, sir. You ought to
Yeah.
go down there to Texas, hang out there during this
Right.
blizzard, and see what happens. That's your choice, man.
Well, one of the things I said when I started talking and having this conversation, I watched a lot of the shows, about Alaska, the last frontier, where it traditionally gets below zero every year.
Yeah.
So you got states and people who live with this all the time. But the issue is, it's political.
Yeah.
In politics, you got a lot of stupid people
A lot of money.
who get elected to office, and they don't get smarter because they got elected to office.
No.
They're still
No.
stupid.
Yep.
So when they come and say, "Oh, this ought to be good," and this ought to work, that don't make it work. And the issue is, right now, it's cold in Texas. Okay, maybe a year or 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the entire United States get one of those cold northern fronts that come through, and even here in Florida, it's snowing. Okay, you cannot live without some form of power. And the issue becomes the power that being produced now comes from sources that are not as renewable and not as safe as determined by some people who in Washington, D.C. are doing it for money and fame and fortune and not for the right reasons. That's what I'm saying.
But Eddie, the environmentalists have gone after this pretty strong.
Sure they have.
And they're saying, in fact, AOC, which is the #1 nut job in the Democratic Party in Congress right now, says the reason Texas had this problem is because they didn't have enough green energy. Well, wait a minute. These wind turbines that you're promoting were frozen at one time and quite useless. And the other things, the solar panels, were not any better. So
5
having
inches
more,
of snow, they don't
Yeah.
they don't work very well.
Yeah, so if you had double the amount of solar panels and double the amount of frozen wind
They
turbines,
still be in the same place.
the same damn place. And we know what happened during Obama when he tried the green jobs. Solera was one of the biggest failures. A few $100 million was given to his buddies. They filed bankruptcy within 6 months, and those guys in the bankruptcy court still continued their huge salaries because they were trying to help the company out. So it's just politics, Eddie, just like you said.
I'm gonna make a statement here. Now, this is an opinion, so I'm putting it out. This is
Okay.
This
That's
is
good.
an
That's fair.
opinion not based upon facts.
Mm-hmm.
That AOC
Mm-hmm.
was probably not the smartest person in her class.
Eddie, she was a bartender now.
She
Come on.
probably wasn't the valedictorian of any of her classes from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade and college if she went to college. So at the end of the day, they have a person running the country. She ain't president,
yeah.
but she got enough of the Democratic Party that follows, hoof and nail, whatever it is she's saying, whatever she's selling. At the end of the day, that person could not lead her way out of a wet toilet paper built sack.
So, Eddie, it's not the
Bad.
fact that some of these politicians don't know. It's just the fact that they really are stupid. And the fact that they're now a politician doesn't make them smarter.
No.
They just had the connections and the money to get into that office. Now, hopefully, we hope and pray the Democratic Party in power will bring enough smart people around them to try and make something work. Because right now, it's nothing.
But
working.
they won't because
That's
see,
true.
See, because
You're right. You've done this before.
because they're in a fishbowl. And everybody else in the fishbowl only says and does is what all the other fishes in the same fishbowl are doing. They are communicating with each
Okay.
other. They're literally, saying the same thing so they can hear them same thing being repeated by other people. And at the end of the day, nothing's different. It's all the same folks saying the same thing, and it's nothing different. And because there's nothing different, it's like the definition of insanity. It's saying and doing the exact same thing repeatedly, expecting different results.
Well, Eddie,
And it's not going to happen.
I believe right now the Democratic Party, I call it the Democratic Socialist Party, which they're okay with that. They've actually are making such strong moves to legalize 11 to 22 million illegals, we call them right now, because they're not residents of the United States, and quickly make them voting Democrats. And I think that's going to hurt the black population and a lot, because those are jobs. Not all of them are just, everybody thinks that, just because Hispanics coming over, they're going to do the worst jobs that white people and other people don't want to do. No, they take over regular jobs. We've got a lot of people with education from other countries that come in here, and the Democratic Party is bending over backwards to bring them in and make them legal citizens, amnesty right away, between 11 to 22 million people, redo the charts for voting, the districts around our nation by bringing in these people. And I think that's going to displace black people. They're no longer going to be the favorites anymore of the Democratic Party, Eddie. They're not going to need them anymore.
Well, politics is they say politics makes strange bedfellows. The nature of it is at the end of this term, not even in 2 years, watch politics in 2 years. Watch how many people, because I'm gonna tell you, see, they want the employers to take the minimum wage up to $15 an hour, and at the same time, watch gas. See, as opposed to taxing you more, which is what they're gonna do, but the cost of living nationally is gonna go up, because I'm gonna tell you, when gas costs $5 a gallon, it was a whole bunch of people not driving anywhere, not doing anything, not buying new cars, not buying new trucks, not buying new motorcycles, and because everybody kept saying, and not going anywhere because they couldn't drive and they couldn't go. And at the end of the day, you don't just buy a gallon of gas for your car, you buy 20 or 30 gallons at a time. at $5 a gallon. See, right now it's up to $2.64. That's a little more than half of what $5 is going to be. Watch the culture of driving. Watch the culture of the highway. Watch how things change. And this is not something that you can pick and choose not to do, because when gas go up, everybody who drives a car or uses it in their home or their vehicles
or the
whatever,
business,
whatever, it goes up for everybody. So you don't see that as the tax it is, but you have no choice. You're gonna have to pay it. You can complain about it, but you don't have no choice. And it's gonna go up for everybody. It's gonna go up the same for the rich, the poor, the middle class. Everybody's gonna be subject to it. That's why I keep reminding you. And you can say whatever you want about me, because I don't care whether you like me or don't like me. But take the information down. Watch how the price of gas affect what you buy for your house and for your kids, and what kind of house you can buy, and what kind of other stuff you got to do without, because the price of gas by itself is going to change everything's going on. Okay, we got another caller. Caller, welcome to Porch Talk Radio on this Saturday afternoon. Who are you? Where you calling from? And what say you? Hello.
Hey, Eddie Zell, and just to let you know, I'm not necessarily a fan of AOC, but I do tell you, I'll call you when I want to just fact check a couple of things.
All right.
She was a decent high school student, and by the way, she did graduate from a pretty good school called Boston University. And ironically, her father, Eddie, did what you did. He's an architect. So she does come from a pretty good family as well, and was a pretty good student. But now, aside from that, but those are facts. But aside from that, I want to ask you your thoughts about that Texas grid system. What are your thoughts about it? How Texas set it up, why they set it up that way, and do you think it should continue to operate that way since they want to be independent of the federal government?
All right. Well, Al, I'm glad you called. You're a good listener.
Thank you, Al.
You're a good caller. And at the end of the day, what Texas thought, they knew that they had fossil fuels covered. But the politicians, who the state government itself is pretty much Republican. But some of the people who get to make some of these other decisions, are liberal and they're Democrat. So at the end of the day, even like the state of Florida, it's a lot of decisions being made by liberals in the state of Florida. Everybody's mad at the governor, everybody's mad at the legislature, but they don't make all the decisions. Matter of fact, they don't educate our kids at all, because you look at the educational system, it's being run by a bunch of liberals, a bunch of
Across
Democrats,
America.
and I'm being straightforward with you. So in Texas, those same liberals, those same Democrats decided that they wanted to do what the national trend they hope would be, and everybody would follow them. So they set up their own system. Texas is not on the national grid. They're not on the same power grid. They set up their own power grid. And what they did was they made 20+% of their power do not come from fossil fuels. It comes from alternative renewable sources.
Okay.
And what happened was they've never needed the whole 100% of the grid to function at one time. Well, the coal came, and they needed all 100% of it, because they needed that 25%, and the other
Another 25.
the other 75% to all function at the same time. It didn't happen, and now all of Texas. There's some pockets in Texas that wasn't on the Texas grid, was not dependent upon Texas power. So those places worked okay, even with the temperatures falling the way it did. The ones that was on the Texas system didn't work. It failed. And that's why they're going through what they're going through. It's political. It wasn't that it had to be that way. It because some and I'm saying like the stupid people made some decision based on politics, not like Joe Robinson say, not based on science.
And again, it was just bureaucrats that end up in these positions. I don't think our person's there anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Just bureaucrats that end up in these positions, and people don't think about here in Tampa. We have bureaucrats that have been there in the system forever.
Right.
They were put in by some Democrat somewhere along the way, or some Republican that wanted to be nice, and they've been screwing the public over for decades across this country. And there's bureaucrats that were not elected into power. They didn't have to campaign, and they don't have to prove their policies to anybody, Eddie.
Well, they're not elected. That's what a bureaucrat is, for those who don't know. If you got a job in government and you didn't have to run a campaign for it, then you're a bureaucrat.
So at this point, understanding that these people have a lot of power, and they're making decisions day in, day out. Here on Porch Talk Radio, everybody, don't forget us on Facebook Live. Like and share, like and share. So after it's all said and done, Texas didn't have it quite all together. Thankfully, Florida is not
Put to
in
the
that.
test, they were proven to not have it all together.
That's true, and at this point, they've proven they're going to have to figure something else out. Now, after it's all said and done, Eddie, I almost bet 100%, let me go 99.9%, that those bureaucrats that made those bad decisions, nothing will ever happen to them. They're going to continue there for another few decades.
And people are dead. You know, I got to say that some people are dying because of this political decision out there in Texas. Now again, we have, I think the other show host said, you know, one of the Trumpiest governors in the country.
Which has saved our bacon plenty of time.
That being said, there's an awful lot of businesses in the state of Florida that's still open. We got schools that are still open. We got theme parks that are still open. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of blue states where everybody is catching hell. I mean, all of the folks, not just some of them, everybody, the rich folk, poor folks, you know, catching hell because of political decisions. They had the same opportunity that DeSantis had. They could have opened their state, and no matter what you do, you're going to have sickness and death. That's why hospitals are everywhere. And I'm a hospital employee who worked for the hospital for 20-something years. And I saw it. And that was long before the COVID hit. You're going to have sickness and death. Every year, every couple of years, some kind of new something come out and kills a bunch of people. And then we get over that one, and before we get over that one, something new comes out. That's the cycle. COVID isn't new. There have been plagues. There have been fungi. There have been bacteria. There have been viruses that have killed millions and millions of people. And we keep, like someone said once before, we're worse than roaches. We keep getting up, we keep coming back. We are resilient. We're far more resilient than a lot of folks, you know, think about when they start thinking about humanity and what we represent. We're not just a virus to the planet. We're not just here destroying the planet, because we cannot destroy the planet. We're not some kind of godlike figure.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much, and somebody's going to get mad when I say, but no matter how badly we pollute this planet, we cannot destroy it. Now, if we drop a couple of atom bombs, what we will do, we will make it hard for us to live. That the darn planet ain't going nowhere.
No, cockroaches will still be there, too.
It'll still be here. It'll be the planet, the earth itself, and cockroaches. You see what I'm saying? We may not go. We can make it tough for us, you know, because every year somebody come up with some kind of new something that keeps getting proven to be wrong. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, Miami was going to be underwater. People kept saying, well, in 10 years, Miami going to be underwater. New York is going to be underwater. Well, they not any more underwater today than it was 30 years ago. But if you listen to these people,
Doomsayers.
who keep saying this stuff,
No science.
well, they keep saying, well, science. It's not science. It's an opinion.
They're making it up.
It's an opinion.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you the nature of science. Science is something that you can come up with a theory, a theorem, and do it here, do it in New York, do it in New Zealand, do it anywhere. It's repeatable. It's proven, and then it's proven to be repeatable.
Mm-hmm.
this stuff they're saying is not proven. It's census. You can take a census and get 100 people to agree with something. It can still be wrong.
Eddie,
And it happens all the time.
You know, I remember receiving something from my grandmother many, many years ago. She had sent me this big old, she was in her 80s, upper 80s. She sent me this big old brown envelope in the mail, big old flat envelope, and had that little class, a little string thing on it, you know. Sent it to me in the mail. She put all these, like, I don't know, 20 stamps on it. And I got the envelope. Oh, great. Grandma sent me something. She's always sending money. I like those envelopes. So I said, okay, let's see what it is. And I opened up that envelope and nothing in it. I blew into it, opened it up, shook it, and out came a little piece of paper, like a little fortune cookie paper.
Mm.
And on it, it said, 1 million people can have a wrong idea. And it's still a wrong idea. Woo! Something so powerful, so simple.
Yeah.
And you're right, Eddie. These people all keep the flu. For anybody that wants to fight me on the CDC's, go look at their website for 2018, 2019. Look at the flu. If you look at 18, you'll find 7,703 were called that people had the flu back then. If you went for 2020 and looked at that again for flu, 36 people. So we have smart people. Now, the people listening to us right now, Eddie, they're not the Joe Biden people.
No.
Because the Joe Biden people that voted for him, that he said this week, if you're a minority, you can't get on the computer, you can't get on the internet, and all of that being a racist statement that we're just too stupid to figure out how to get on the internet. Eddie, you've been on the internet, haven't you?
I went there once or twice myself.
Okay. So and we're both over 50, so we figured out we're minorities. So we're not part of the Joe Biden minorities he keeps talking about that are stupid and dumb that can't figure out how to get on the internet. But he's a racist and we knew it anyway. But going forward back to COVID, that family of COVID's been around since, I read something back to 1932. Now this strain came around supposedly 1920, okay. So it's nothing new, folks. It's just a different strain. We got a 19 strain. Now they talk about a 21 strain. And it's supposed to be deadly. Fauci's all talking, we need to wear 2, 20, 40 masks, except the Biden administration doesn't have time for that because they got power now. That was the whole purpose of COVID,
right,
to get into power so people wouldn't go vote, so they could be sent in ballots and make up all these boxes of ballots and wish, but that's a separate story. So, but going forward, all that said, Dr. Fauci is no longer getting attention. Have you noticed? He's not on CNN every night. He's not talking from the White House because the White House doesn't care about his COVID-21 he's talking about. They're supposed to be more deadly, more dangerous, more contagious, that if you just breathe, you got it. The Biden administration, they don't care. They've given up on that. They're moving on. We're not. CNN is giving up on COVID. Have you noticed? They no longer have their death chart out there for people to look at every time they look at CNN. Why is that? They don't need it anymore, folks.
right. Well, the ballot is won.
Yeah.
And I posted something on my Facebook page, and it had a picture of a woman, and she looked distraught. And she was saying she thought everything was going to be so much better now that they got rid of Trump. And the lady who she was saying this to said, don't worry, they will soon tell you who to hate next.
The new boogeyman.
Who next to hate? You know, because that's what some folks live for. That's what this is all about. It is them telling you, controlling you, who to hate and who not to hate. You know, and that's one thing I learned a long time ago. No one could make you love somebody.
Ooh.
See, that's the nature. The only way you can fight hate is love. And love is more powerful. You know, even stupid people can tell you, given a choice between love and hate, love is more powerful. You know, it don't take us folks here at Porch Talk Radio and this radio show to give you that bit of wisdom. And while we got this little break right here, let me go ahead and do on this day.
Holy mackerel, look at time.
Yeah, it's flying. On this day, for those who have been waiting with bated breaths.
That's right, just waiting.
waiting with bated breath. On this day, February the 20th, in 1792, U.S. President George Washington signed the Postal Service Act that created the U.S. Post Office.
And they've been losing money ever since.
They've been losing money ever since. And
Billions.
folks are quick to tell you the U.S. Post Office is not part of the U.S. federal government.
But they keep getting bailouts every year.
Yeah, and the federal government pays for it too.
Free.
All right. On this day, February 20th, 1809, U.S. Supreme Court ruled the power of the federal government was greater than that of any individual state.
That's a hammer.
That's the big hammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of folks don't realize that. Not one state or any group of states can literally overpower the federal government, the United States of America.
But they can't ignore the rules until they get busted.
Well, again, that gives the federal government, the state, to come in and do whatever it needs to do to maintain the United States
Unless
of
you're
America.
Ron DeSantis.
I'm not even commenting on that. All right. On February the 20th, in 1839, the U.S. Congress prohibited dueling. That's taking a gun out and shooting somebody
The duels. Got it.
in the District of Columbia.
Only there?
It took the Congress to prohibit people from shooting and killing each other in the streets.
It's effective.
And last but not least, on this Black History Month, in 1952, Emmett L. Ashford became the first black in organized baseball to become an umpire. Everybody talking about the first black player, but the first black umpire.
What year?
This is in 1952.
Ah.
He was authorized to become a substitute in the Southwestern International League. So in 1952, they actually got a black umpire in Major League Baseball. Gabriel.
As Herschel Walker's thoughts on reparations, a lot of people like the idea of free handouts. He said, we use black power to create white guilt. He said, my approach is biblical. How can I ask my Heavenly Father to forgive me if I can't forgive my brother? So folks, now to counter that right now in schools, this is happening today, right now in schools, white kids are being taught to hate their whiteness. That's a bit racist, but okay. Boys are taught to hate their masculinity, girls to hate their femininity. Like I said that word, femininity. Children of all races and both sexes are taught to hate their country. We push self-loathing onto our kids, then wonder why they are depressed and suicidal. The left wants you to love who you are unless you are white or don't conform to their gender norms. Now, right now, speaking of suicides, the CDC reports on lockdowns, the results of the lockdowns for adults 18 or older, 40.9% reported mental or behavioral health issues, 30.9% had anxiety or depression, 26.3% had trauma and stress, 13.3% started increased substance abuse, 10.7% considered suicide in the last 30 days. So was the lockdowns worth it? From where a liberal Democrat stands, absolutely. Power was everything. This is small news. This is nothing. Now, going forward with politics, Nikki Haley, if you guys have heard of Nikki Haley, she was ambassador under President Trump. He gave her that position. He trusted her. She reached out 2 weeks ago and put a dagger in his back by saying she would have rather have worked with any living dog instead. Well, she thought that she would give Mr. Trump a call down at Mar-a-Lago and go chat with him a couple days ago. Mr. Trump declined. She is part of the trouble. He will not put up with that. Let's see. Going forward, if we want some good old-fashioned humor, I've always got some jokes for you guys. I'm at 56 now, 80, and I think I must have quite a butt.
Oh man.
Yeah, I must have quite a butt because every time I finish visiting with people and I walk off, they say, "Man, what an ass." So I don't know, something in the genes. Who knows what it is? I hear BLM is on the way, Eddie, to Texas to help all the freezing black folks down there. If you believe that.
Right.
Yeah, they got that billions of dollars that the white liberals run that organization. They're going to go off to wherever they want, some island.
They can do like Ted Cruz. They're going to Cancun.
You know what? They could buy Cancun for that. All that matters. Let's see. Meanwhile, the Archbishop, Catholic Archbishop Joseph Naumann, is telling Mr. Biden, the lying president, to stop defining himself as a devout Catholic when he's all for abortion, even the day of birth. Now, Mr. John F. Kennedy, some people are familiar with John F. Kennedy, he said, the efforts of the government alone will never be enough. In the end, the people must choose, and the people must help themselves. This man today would be kicked out of that party.
Oh yeah.
No questions about it. He would be kicked out of that party. Now, also, folks, I like to make lists. I love to make lists. Also, I like to leave them lying on the kitchen counter. And then guess what's on the list while I'm at the store. It's a fun game. It's great to be that. Now, Coca-Cola is teaching their people to be less white. They're told their employees to be less oppressive, less arrogant, less defensive, less certain about themselves, less arrogant, more humble. Listen, believe. Break with apathy. Break with white solidarity. Try to be less white. And out of the $1.9 trillion going to COVID, we know that only 9% is actually going to help the COVID situation. The balance is not going to help at all. It's going to be paying unions. We know that. And that's spelled out in the COVID bill for those of you that could go and read this. But it's been quite a week, Eddie. Trump beats impeachment. Democrats in disarray. The Lincoln Project burnt to the ground. The rhinos in the Republican establishment is exposed, and they're collapsing. Cuomo and Democrat governors in free fall. The media depressed and lashing out at the Democrats for their impeachment failure. Meanwhile, Make America Great Again is ascending again. God bless America.
All right. Woo. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go. All right. Now, folks, we didn't mention the Super Bowl that just passed. And I gotta tell folks, and folks know they listen to Porch Talk Radio. So the Super Bowl that just passed was 55. Next year, Super Bowl 56.
Miami?
No, it's gonna be in Los Angeles.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't know the Super Bowl this year was supposed to be in Los Angeles, but as many of you know, the new stadium wasn't ready. So even though they've been playing games in it, the Super Bowl site had to be selected, and for them to go through all the maneuvers that they go through, it wasn't ready in time. So they went on and used Plan B, which was Tampa. So we got it a year early.
Oh,
So
that means we get it again then, right?
Well, that you would hope so, but we get it in the next round. So Super Bowl 56 is next year, February 6th in Los Angeles. Super Bowl 57 is in 2023, and that's in Glendale, Arizona. And Super Bowl 58 is going to be back in New Orleans.
Eddie, I think that's racist. I think that's so racist. Because why don't they do it in North Dakota? Montana.
The nature of it is they only do it in cities.
I mean, there's only 20 people up there, but what the heck?
They only do it in cities with Super Bowl teams.
And money.
So if you don't have a Super Bowl team, if you don't have an NFL team, you would never get a Super Bowl. Just for the record. And the places that got Super Bowl team, they only appear to do the Super Bowls in the cold climates when it's a new stadium.
So New Hampshire's not gonna get anything soon.
New Hampshire don't even have a Super Bowl team. Okay, you gotta have a football team. So anyway, those are the next couple of years where the Super Bowl is gonna be. This is Black History Month, and we can't let the whole program get away without making some knowledgeable effort toward, somebody you don't know. Okay, somebody you don't know who made history, Black History Month. Dr. Patricia Beth was an African American. She was an African American ortho. I won't say orthopedic, but no, eye doctor.
Okay.
So
Optometrist, like.
optometrist.
Got it.
She invented the device that's used for cataract surgery. So,
Really?
so the person that does your cataract surgery to remove the cataract owe their livelihood, existence, to a black ophthalmologist who in 1981 did the research and developed the scope, the probe that they used to do the cataract surgery. She also was the first African American female to complete a residency in ophthalmology.
Wow.
She's the first woman chair of an ophthalmology program in the United States. She also was the first female doctor to secure a medical patent. She was the first African American female doctor to secure a medical patent.
And again, I want to add to that is she was given the opportunity. She didn't quit. She just kept on going. And I think Netflix right now, they're actually taking this Black History Month. I think they're going too far, Eddie. They had that white queen replaced with a black lady that's playing the role. That's Netflix right now. That's happening. I forgot the name of the movie now, but it's supposed to be pretty popular. I mean, if that's the case, why don't we just have Mel Gibson play Martin Luther King in the movie?
Well, they actually had Cleopatra played by Liz Taylor.
And she was not white, right? Because Cleopatra was very tan back in the day.
Cleopatra from Egypt.
Okay, but she was
3,000 years ago.
Right.
She was black.
No, Eddie, that's not what they're telling us right now. I'm just telling you what they're telling us in school, Eddie.
I'm correcting it. The way Liz Taylor played Cleopatra, is because they didn't want to put black folks on TV, especially.
Well, Cleopatra must have a weight problem in that case.
Especially in a starring role. So anyway, Dr. Beth also was the co-founder of the American Institute for the Prevention of Blindness. And with that said, folks, until next week when we do this all again,
Woo!
and I forgot to go on about the death of Rush Limbaugh, but we'll deal with that next week.
He'll still be gone.
Until that next week when we do this all again, Porch Talk Radio, next bat time, next bat place. See you then. Love you.
God bless America.
Bye-bye.